out with some intro music as always, so let's get after it. Yo, it's so weird. I think I played the wrong intro music, man. Give me a sec. I technical
No,
difficulties
you
here.
didn't.
Yep, it's like
Doing shots from the Lord, man.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for being here. We are on our Week 16 injury show. You can tell I'm on such a high that the Malort's not even hitting me. It's 10:45. It is a fantastic morning. We are having a great time in Chicago, and I am here with the best in the business, the Ben McCown, DPT, the fantastic Twitter doctor. Be sure to check out his work on Substack, on Twitter, on everything that you can. He's also on the Dynasty Gambit. Ben, how we doing today?
Addi, I have to first just give you the major props for just like you being able to enjoy this win, right? And it's always, as professional as I come on this show, I will just let this one slip, but fuck the Packers, right? It's always FTP, whether it's Lions, Bears, if you're a Vikings fan, I don't care because I don't have any hate for you guys. It's always fuck the Packers. But it's good to be on here, man, and I'm glad that you're living off the high of Caleb Williams looking just amazing last night. And, of course, Romo Doomsday, it didn't matter if he was out. It didn't matter if Luther Burden was out either. DJ Moore, of course, I wish Colston Loveland did more for my fantasy teams yesterday, but they got the win. It's always gritty with the Bears, right? So I wanted to also share with you guys that, while you opened me up for the Dynasty Gambit, which I am continuing to be, of course, the co-founder and a major contributor in that space, I am also happy to announce and glad that I could join my friends at the Devi Dojo, writing for not only myself, but their Substack and being able to help those guys advance their writing.
Yeah, I'm here with the soundboard today. But check out Ben's work. He truly does some of the best writing that we have in the business. But yeah, this year feels to me a lot like the Lions year probably felt to you last year, where you just see the momentum coming together. You see it coming together as a team, and they're really starting to make it fun, which is just so cool to see. Like in Chicago, we've been waiting for this for 20 years. I haven't gotten to feel this good about a Bears team in some time, and Caleb's looked great. To be honest, if you added in all the drop passes from Olamide Zaccheaus alone, he would have like a top 12 passer completion rate in the NFL. So that's really all that's missing from that team. That if that guy had hands, he would be incredible. But let's move it into the injury news. We're here to break down the semifinals. We had the ones last night. You called them. You said Josh Jacobs was a little iffy for this one, and he was certainly iffy in that game. You got any takes from the Saturday games that we saw yesterday?
Yeah, I think Josh Jacobs, he'll be Josh Jacobs going forward as he heals up. But yeah, when you're dealing with an injury like that, of course, we can't miss another big one with Jordan Love going out with the concussion. It'll be interesting to see as the week goes on for week 17, how long he's going to remain on the protocol. I was saying in our Discord last night that, he basically was in the blue tent to start, but it's really the evaluation that happens afterwards in the locker room that matters the most towards when the team doctors really get an evaluation of what his status looks like. And that's what's going to matter most for whether he's going to be able to play for your championships or not. And it's not looking good, guys. I mean, he took a good hit, but it's going to open up the week questionable, and we're going to have to be watching the practice reports. It's going to depend on if he misses some practices, we're not feeling as good. But if he can at least put in some limited sessions, there's an opportunity that maybe Jordan Love plays for you in your championship week.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Malik Willis is a great backup option there. So if you have Jordan
Yeah,
Love, if you're in a 1 QB, even if you're in a 2 QB, there's probably a good chance that Malik Willis is on your waiver wire. And if he showed anything yesterday, it's that he has one of the safest rushing floors in the NFL. Like, that guy was
yeah.
making our D line look silly on every single play. Like, he
If
made that
if you
game
guys
terrifying.
Right. If you guys have any remaining fab on your roster, there's no reason to hold on to it. Spend the shit out of it, because you know what? You might as well just put it. If you have Jordan Love, put it all on Malik Willis this week. If you're going for a championship, that's what you need to do. But I'm curious to see, if Malik Willis has any staying power as a future starter in the NFL on another team. We're seeing this happen across the league, that you see players like Mac Jones. Malik Willis is going to be another one to watch out for, that maybe some team gives them a chance. That they're right now, Arizona is throwing Jacoby Brissett out there. We're not exactly sure what the future is with that. If they end up landing a quarterback like Mac Jones in a trade or something like that, but yeah, it's really interesting, the landscape of where the quarterbacks are at right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at that guy, he got an opportunity in Tennessee and didn't really show it there, but he was a great prospect going into that draft. Like, he kind of had that Shador Sanders moniker to him, where something in the interview process turned him from a second or third round pick into a seventh rounder. And I've been really impressed by what I've seen from him every time he's come into the game in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love have truly made that guy into a complete passer. So I would love to see him get an opportunity on, like, the Jets, on one of these teams that needs a quarterback coming in, or at a minimum coming in as a backup option, because really he is able to play at a high level. But let's break down the games this week. You want to just run down the Substack article? We can start with Browns,
Yeah.
Bronx, or
So
yeah,
I was gonna
Broncos,
say, Addi,
Jets.
I'm on a and I hate to be that guy, but I am on a tight schedule, so I
Yeah,
definitely
hit
have
it,
the next 20 minutes. But I really want
get
to
it,
highlight some of the big injuries for the week, right?
love it.
Because it's the players that are going to mean something for your matchup, right? So I first want to start with T. Higgins, who is going to be playing this week for the Bengals. They have a matchup with the Dolphins this week, and it's all going to depend. I mean, it's all dependent on the offensive flow of the way that the Dolphins go, right? Because if they go toe to toe with the Bengals and Joe Burrow needs to be able to feed it to somebody, it's going to be Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And we saw, a couple of years ago, T. Higgins had a wide receiver one week in week 18. He's got the upside to be able to break the week for you and be able to make something happen, especially when we're talking about a week that had Puka Nakua is right now sitting at the wide receiver one.
Oh yeah, and I would love to start T in any lineup. The second that guy's on the field, you have to believe that he is going to be a big part of their offense. Like, it's one of
Yeah.
those guys, especially when you're talking a head injury. Like, you aren't worried about him, like, leaving the field, play one, because it just didn't feel right. Like, he's going to be in there unless he takes a big hit, and I'm not one to predict those things. Like, I think when you're dealing with concussion, you got to just roll your studs out there.
Here's the thing, right? That's why we play fantasy football. It is a game of risk. And when you are playing in a semifinal matchup, especially again, when we talk about, I mean, I was on the good side of a Puka bomb this week because I owned him in most of the championship leagues that I'm running right now, or like the games where I'm in the semifinals, right? But if you're
Yeah.
facing against that, you need high upside. You're not looking at risk, because the risk is if you don't take any, you're probably going to lose this week. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day because you're not going to be making any money. So take the risk, and it's a fun watch, man, especially when, like, if you rolled out DJ Moore in possibly a wide receiver or a flex spot last night, you didn't exactly know how to feel until that last 60-yard bomb happened, and that possibly threw you and pushed you to possibly even win this week.
Oh yeah, and if you don't take risks like that, you're never gonna like win these games. Like you need to take those high upside players, and normally they're wide receivers. Who else you got this week?
Yeah, so let's talk about the Saints backfield because I think this one is one that's a little murky, right? We know Devin Neal now his season is going to be ended on the IR, and now we're rolling with Audric Estime and Evan Hall. And I think right now the consensus is that people are rolling with Audric Estime as the RB1 of the team. I'm not feeling safe about that, right? I think it could be a very split backfield. And, while Evan Hall has been kind of a career backup, so is Audric Estime. It's really going to come down to, I think this week is going to be something to watch for, and then it's going to mean more for your championship round if you make it past this week with Audric Estime or Evan Hall on your lineup. But I've got a couple leagues with both of them sitting on my bench. But does that mean more next week when we see how those snap counts split?
Oh yeah, and I personally I was shocked how many start sit questions. I was watching the Fourth and Fantasy Show. Be sure to check out their work.
Yeah,
But I was
absolutely.
shocked how many people were asking Audric Estime or Brees Hall, Audric Estime or Quinshon Judkins. And I was like, man, I would not feel confident starting Audric Estime over any of those guys. I want to see how this splits out. They've been giving a lot of their goal line, their third down passing to Evan Hall, and he hasn't looked good, to be entirely fair. It hasn't been pretty, but if you have that guy in there and Audric Estime is just getting that between the 20s work for the New Orleans Saints, boy, would I not want to have the guy between the 20s for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. So that'll be something interesting to watch. Another one, Addy, and this is a big one. This is championship level stuff here for a return from big London, Drake London coming back into the lineup for the Falcons. I've got him on multiple rosters where I've held with some of the players that I have. And, and Rome Odunze has been a player that has been out for me in some of those rosters, but now I get Drake London coming back in, and I think a lot of people have been asking where does he land? I mean, right now in the League Champ app, go download it, guys. But I have him at wide receiver 13 on the week, and I think the upside is there for him to be even higher than that. But they've got it. First of all, Raheem Morris is playing with the job on the line, right? If he loses the rest of these games, the last 3 games this year, he could be receiving a pink slip on Black Monday. And we're not he's trying to save his job at this point. I think that's why London even came back in the first place, because this is an injury that, as we saw with Ricky Pearsall, holds somebody out for a longer time than what we would want. And this is something too, he could re-aggravate it, right? And I think that's a concern on many fantasy owners' parts is, if I start him, what's the likelihood that he finishes week 16 out? Again, we're talking, you have to take the risk because Drake London offers such great upside and is the wide receiver one on that team.
Yeah. I mean, and this also impacts your Kyle Pitts takes. I think you need to start both of those guys, but I'm definitely trepidatious on both of them because Drake London could come into this week and be out in 20 plays. And I don't want to predict that because he's a good player. He's going out there. He's going to try to make it work for his team. But geez, man, that's a rough injury. And the guy does rely a lot on his athleticism. Those explosives are actually really important for a big bodied receiver. It's why we see guys like Andre Johnson, Brandon Marshall hit that cliff so quickly because they rely on being able to out physical the corner that's lined up across from them.
Yeah. So, oh man, let's talk about another one that this could really, really affect people. And actually, Dustin from Debbie Dojo and part of the Elite Discord was messaging with me earlier about it, including in his start sit section. But Woody Marks is questionable and is looking more and more like a Josh Jacobs situation of, he's probably going to play and play through injury. He expects to play, and so right now, I think you got to roll him in your lineup because Woody Marks offers much better upside than anybody else in that Houston backfield. The question is, what other options do you have? But I do think Woody Marks, as all season, he has been pushing through injury, and he has still been putting up fantasy points.
Yeah, yeah, and to be honest, he is slightly undersized for that role too. Like he's coming in there, he's going to get hit a bunch. I really think that they are going to rely more on Jawar Johnson and Nick Chubb this week than we would normally see, and largely because they have a good matchup too. Like this is one of those ones where I think that if you're rolling out Woody Marks, you've normally been doing it because it's a safe option. You're going to get 15 to 20 touches. I think you're going to be looking closer to 15 this week. And I think that's smart for the Texans too, because they're looking at playoff ambitions. They need that guy healthy.
Yeah, no, for sure. I another one. So going back to the Falcons Cardinals, right? Because we got
Oh,
some
I know
time
what you
here.
were gonna
I sped
say.
through it and I was like, man, we killed it. We crushed it. Because really, those are the big ticket injuries this week. Really.
Oh yeah.
Now you go back to some guys that are possibly coming back this week. Marvin Harrison Jr. is really down in my rankings this week, right? Because I don't know where to trust it. And to me, Michael Wilson for rest of season, to me, is the Cardinals wide receiver one when it comes to looking at trusting somebody in your fantasy lineup. But Marvin Harrison, you're asking the questions, him or Adonai Mitchell, him or somebody else who's lower down as a wide receiver
Jordan
two, wide
Addison,
receiver
like,
three.
yeah. Debo
Yes,
Samuel.
yes,
You're looking in the gross range for Marvin Harrison Jr.
yeah, yeah. I'm really curious what this offseason is going to bring for the Cardinals because, I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion, but it's not good vibes right now with Kyler, and you have to think that if Jonathan Gannon wants to maintain his job, they're going to have to do something at the quarterback position that is going to massively make a splash. Whether it is, again, trading Kyler, I can't remember if I don't think he's an unrestricted free agent at this point
He's not.
because he's got the contract, but they're going to have to make a decision if they want to trade him and go after another asset, whether that is a Mac Jones, or do you ride the fire with Jacoby Brissett? Issue is they haven't been winning games with Jacoby Brissett, but also the rest of the roster has not been great. I mean, when you're running out Amari DiMercado and Michael Carter as your running backs, you don't feel great about that. Of course, Trey Benson ended the season on the IR, and the defense has been playing subpar football as well. So I'm interested in what goes on with the Cardinals next year, and that's all going to really have an impact on Marvin Harrison. They spent draft capital the 104 overall on Marvin Harrison. I want to see something happen where they utilize this guy's skills in the right way because I think a lot of things that were being said about Kyler and Marv was that the timing was off. Marv plays in such a way that it's all in rhythm, and when you have a quarterback that's not playing to that same speed or same level, Kyler was looking awful when he was on the field compared to when you have somebody else who's stepping in as a plus 30-year-old vet. Jacoby Brissett was running the offense so much better. And I mean, we see Trey McBride as the wide receiver, the tight end one this year. I mean, might as well be the wide receiver one. But I definitely gave him a little bit of shout out in my recent article. He's breaking records at the tight end position. It's insane, man.
Yeah, I've never had a season where Travis Kelsey's been the tight end too, and he has been so freaking underwhelming on a season long perspective. Like it normally when you're looking at that like tight end list, it's Travis Kelsey and George Kittle, Brock Bowers, one of those guys, and then it's that drop off. But the drop off is Travis Kelsey right now. It's Trey McBride and it's everybody else. So I'm in the exact same boat. I really want to see this team with a more cohesive roster because Trey Benson would make a huge difference for this roster at this point. Like Michael Carter is a competent backup. He's one of the best RB3s you could have on a roster, but The reality is they've cycled through 7 or 8 guys. DeMercado was their starter. Bam Knight was their starter. They had a
Now Michael Carter
competent
is a starter.
defense yeah, they had a competent defense and they sure as shit don't anymore. Like I want to see that offense with cohesive play calling the entire season because we're finally seeing Michael Wilson do what a lot of people wanted to see him do from day one. Like Michael Wilson was one of those like sleeper picks early on where you looked at him and you're like, man, that guy could be something. And we just got to see none of it. But if we can see Marvin him in the same offense playing well, that would be such a step in the right direction. I think that would really sell the Cardinals on Jacoby Brissett as that bridge starter for them while they figure out what they're going to do at QB moving forward. So I'm
Yeah.
interested to see, but I got both of them lower in my rankings because it's scary.
Listen to this, man. So let's say the Cardinals are done with Kyler Murray and they're just like, we're gonna offload him, we're gonna trade him. And they decide to go into the 2026 draft in a trade and possibly go after a guy like Fernando Mendoza or Ty Simpson, or if Dante Moore declares, like, that
Yeah.
would be such an exciting move for the Cardinals to have basically a quarterback like Jacoby Brissett open the season as a starter and let somebody sit underneath him to be able to work into that offense. So there's so much that's going to build up in the draft of, rumors, a lot of, speculation and certain takes that are going to come out that we don't know what's going to happen, and who's going to end up taking some of these studs at the QB position. And then also who's going to end up going in free agency or trades from other teams.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And I think this is they're one of the most interesting teams this offseason because we really should see a lot of new faces playing well in that environment. They have it well put together. Do we have any other injuries that are top of mind for you this week? Like who's really itching your brain?
Yeah. So this is less so an injury that impacts the actual player himself for fantasy rosters, but I think by proxy, the player that gets more touches because of it. But Travis Etienne is going to continue to feast while Basil Tootin is out with the broken finger. They did surgery, so he is going to hopefully be back for them in the playoffs. But he is going to be out for the rest of the regular season. And at this point, Travis Etienne is looking like a top 12 running back option the rest of the season, especially for the fantasy
Easily.
playoffs.
Yeah, I could not be happier about that. We got Crispy in the chat here throwing in that shade on Kyler Murray's effort to this point and how well Trey McBride's been playing here. I totally agree with that, Crispy. You are on point here. He also mentions here Quinnen Williams is out. I actually think that is pretty consequential because that Dallas defense is already hot garbage as is, and if I needed another reason to get a Marion Hampton and Kamani Vidal into my starting lineup, this is definitely the one that I needed there because I wasn't feeling confident in
Yeah.
either of those guys. They are getting a full split.
So Crispy, to your point about Amari and Hampton, firing up Amari and Hampton and feeling more confident. I don't know, man. Because here's the thing: the snap counts for LA have stayed pretty even, or if anything, I think it was also Dustin in his Discord who was mentioning that he sees Vidal having better vision than Hampton at this point right now running the ball. And, we spent high draft capital on Hampton in rookie drafts, and he was also a first round running back. And so we know the talent that Amarian Hampton has, but I don't know if we see it for the rest of 2025 and how that works out with the Chargers offense. It has been a very weird shift in the Chargers offense that, of course, at the beginning of the season, before the hand injury, you were seeing Justin Herbert throw the shit out of the ball to Lad McConkey, to Quentin Johnston, to Keenan Allen. And now he's changed up so much of the offense because of the injury. And at this point, Jim Harbaugh just wants to win games. And so they're having designed runs for Justin Herbert. They're making sure that they still give the ball to Vidal and Hampton. But at the end of the day, that defense is going to also win games for them. And I think it's going to be a weird offensive ecosystem for the rest of 2025.
I think so too. And this game's going to be a really good indicator of how it looks when they have pressure put on them. Because I think Dallas is going to be able to score on that defense. I don't think it's going to be like the Eagles where you're seeing Dak throw to the defense 12 or 13 times throughout a game, like maybe only 9 or 10. But
Set
that's
records
definitely
for
my
making a
read.
fumble and interception in both plays. So
Crazy play. I've never seen one scored like that, and that is freaking insane. Okay, I know you got to get out of here soon, so rapid fire. Any other ones that are top of mind that our fantasy community here need to know before their semifinals?
absolutely. So, when we're talking about somebody who we want to see hit another wide receiver 1 week, I I'm not sure how I'm feeling about Tedder McMillan this week, considering he has the ankle and foot injury. I do think that they will have to be because considering they're playing against the Buccaneers, right? So they're going to have to
They're gonna
be
throw.
in a heavy pass game script. So I do think you have to still roll him out with confidence to a certain extent. But what does that mean? And then of course you have on the opposite side Mike Evans, who at this point, Emeka Egbuka has not become a trusted fantasy asset going forward for the rest of 2025. I do think that possibly changes in the offseason, whether that means any departure of Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. I'm curious on Mike Evans because I feel like if he was going to retire this, I guess I shouldn't say that, right? Because I think if he's going to retire at the end of the 2025 season, he wants to just give it his all and see what happens with the Buccaneers to get them into the playoffs and possibly compete for a Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, fired Mike Evans up with full confidence. He is a wide receiver 1 at the end of the day in this league, and he is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion, based off of the resume he's put up.
Yeah, I loved his comment this week of, I've given up on hope on the additional 1,000-yard season, but tying with Jerry Rice isn't bad.
He is somebody who is so underappreciated, and I think we appreciate him. And the close people in the fantasy community that know what he does do appreciate what he's done for fantasy football, the NFL. But Mike Evans does he needs to receive more flowers for what he does for this league.
He does. He's the one that has paved the way for the Drake Londons of the world, for the Roma Dunzeys. Like the fact that that guy can still compete in today's modern NFL with all the slot, the motion, the smaller players becoming more active parts of the passing game, he shows you that that doesn't need to be your offense. So I totally agree. He's one of my favorite players all time, and I loved when he used to
Yeah.
fight Josh Norman too, because who doesn't love that?
Man, Addi,
Well,
it was a fun show with you, man. And always appreciate being on. So I appreciate you, man. And congrats on the Bears win. That was a big one for you guys.
we could not be happier. Well, be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends. We will be getting on this for the remainder of the regular season, and then we will break into some new content. So be ready to see what we have rolling out. We're going to be doing some good stuff with Ben in the off season too. We'll keep that quiet in the short term, but we're definitely going to be utilizing his skill set a bit more efficiently here at League Champ. Loved having you guys on here. You can find me at Duck League Champ on all the social medias. You can find my work on the app and Google Play Store under League Champ. Check out the little duck logo. And you still have time to enter the contest. You got 45 minutes. So definitely get your ranks in there. Let's try to prevent Ben from ever getting a first place finish, despite the fact that he is always in the top 5.
If I don't win something, I feel like I have to just go out there and buy a jersey because I'm just like I've been cut so many times, specifically by Chev. Get out of here, Chev.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, well, Chev's in Dallas, man. This is the week. Let's take him off that throne. I want that streak over. Crispy might be a part of that too. But be sure to check out Ben's work. He is on Substack doing a ton of writing, and be sure to check out Debbie Dojo. I love the Empire of Elite family. Like that is one of my favorite discords to be a part of.
Thanks, man. Well, appreciate being on, and see you guys next time.
See you guys next time.